In today's video we're going to have a look at my greenhouse. We're going to look at every single plant in there. We're going to repot where needed. We're going to clean the greenhouse and then we're going to set it up again, ready for the upcoming growing season. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is part 3 of my Getting My Plants Spring Ready series. So we already repotted all of my anthuriums and we already gotten on top of the garden and the garden beds and so on. So the next thing to tackle is the greenhouse. In case you want to learn more about the greenhouse in itself, I actually have a full playlist on the greenhouse. I only got it last year, so I've really only been growing inside the greenhouse for 1 full year now. So as part of that, I've also experienced every single season, and it's been a really nice journey. But basically, and we'll talk about it more as I repot some of the plants, but basically over the last 3 to 4 months I haven't really done much in the greenhouse. You saw the misters come on just then. I've only last week I set up the misters again, or started scheduling the misters again, because it's getting nice and warm. And the mist is obviously going to increase the humidity in there, and they're also cooling it down if there's too much sun exposure. But yeah, the winter months, you know, it's not getting all too much sun because the sun is kind of moving this way, hidden by trees and houses, whereas in summer it's moving kind of straight over the garden. I'm north facing over here, and as part of that, the greenhouse also gets more sun exposure. So not too much sun exposure means it's not heating up. It's definitely getting really cold in there over winter, so I didn't want to induce too much rot by having a cold and wet combination. So I didn't have the misters on, and I hardly watered in there either. So to be honest, over winter the greenhouse experiences the exact same temperatures as the outside world. It's probably just at all times a little bit more humid, which isn't necessarily a good thing. We don't like cold and humid. The only real difference is that it's protected from the rain, so it's just less water. It's very rainy in Sydney over winter, so yeah, I suppose that is what's kind of like saving the plants in there. But we had some casualties, and I suppose we're about to find out. Let me bring you a bit closer first, and then we'll take them all out to repot. Alrighty, this is the greenhouse. So, I mean, we're going to look at all of the plants in detail in a sec, so I'm not going to point all of them out, but basically, yeah, it's looking pretty lush given that this is just after winter. We need to give a shout out to my Carnivorous plant over here. Look at how many pitches it is growing. So I'm probably not going to do anything with her today because she's currently so happy, but we're still going to look at her in a little bit more detail. Some of the anthuriums from the repot I've already moved out here, but again we're gonna have to take everything out of here because we also need to clean the greenhouse. I mean, have a look at this. Look how filthy that greenhouse is over here. That is not good. Look at this. So it's obviously gonna get less light exposure, and also look at all of the spider webs everywhere. So we need to really do a bit of a spring clean in here, so it feels nice. Also, I think some plants have spiders. Yes. Yeah, also the outside doesn't look that nice with all of the cobwebs on it, right? So we're gonna do a big spring clean today. So let's get started, huh? Why don't we just take them all out chronologically, or like just as I see them. No method to my madness today. And I think my microphone was kind of hidden a bit. I hope you can hear me better now. I just adjusted that. And if I look off camera the whole time, it's because I'm also trying to keep an eye on Bradley. He's allowed in the garden, but he's not allowed to leave the garden. Alrighty, here we've got 2 alocasias, Odora batik. I feel like something has eaten it since I put it in the greenhouse. Anyway, it's not looking very good. I am currently working on an experiment, a new type of setup for my alocasias. So I want to wait for the results before I do anything with this. I can see some healthy roots in here, so at this stage I'm not concerned. Oh, you look so unhealthy. To be honest, it looks like it didn't necessarily like the misting and water sitting on its leaves. even though I've got airflow in there, and I'll talk to you about airflow in a sec, I have a little rant about that part. Maybe it's more so a candidate for the outside world rather than the greenhouse world. So I think I won't repot it for now because I'm experimenting with a new way of growing some of my alocasias, and then this one will actually be the next one to convert as well. So I'll just park it on the side for now. This one is my Gargana. It is doing much better. I don't want to get up for every single one, sorry, but I hope you can see that there's heaps and heaps of roots in the pot. So again, I think I'm just going to clean this up a little bit, make it look good. Yeah, I think nothing to do over here, just a water. So I'll park this on the side as well. This is my bird, my Ring of Fire. I had to move her outside because she's just taken up too much space inside. But I wanted to show you how really nice and healthy the roots are within the pole over here. So it's clearly happy, even pushing a few roots out the top over here. And looks like there's a whole lot of new shoots coming out here, but nothing is really producing leaves. I think I want to move this outside of the greenhouse as well onto my wall of aeroids because it doesn't need that extra high humidity in there and it takes up a lot of space. And this one is my Syngonium Mojito. That's also had to go into the greenhouse because it was taking up too much space, but the plan was always to kind of make this into a table display for my garden. So I think I'm also going to keep this outside of the greenhouse now. Because I want to move a few plants from the inside back into the greenhouse. But I suppose we'll find out later when I really put everything back outside. But the idea would be for this to stay outside. Oh, hello! Nice to see you here. Oh yeah. Scratchies, huh? So baby. Hello. So far all of the plants that I showed you were all plants that actually overwintered inside, and then I just took them out over the last 2 months. Keep in mind it is already mid-October by now, and we've had a really hot beginning to the spring. So the first week in September was already over 30 degrees. So I started taking a few plants outside, but then we had a few dips again, so I kind of put them all in the greenhouse to hopefully shelter them from the cold snaps. Not that I'm heating the greenhouse. But this one is my Ploumanii, and it actually overwintered in the greenhouse. I can see there's a new Catafilk pushing out over here, and I think it actually grew one leaf over winter, which has a lot of damage. Now I think this one, first of all, needs a really good clean, but I do think there's a few older leaves that can probably be sacrificed. This one is actually not that bad. I think this one is actually this newest one is particularly ugly. It takes up a lot of space in there. Okay. Now it actually looks worse than before, huh? Okay, at least all of the leaves are one way, but they need a big clean. And yeah, it should grow really well. It grew really well last year inside the greenhouse, and I'm really surprised that it actually coped quite well with winter. Okay, here we've got a bottom part of, this is the bottom part of my Sodiroy, and you can see that there's 1, 2, 3 shoots, but also some parts that didn't make it. Let me cut off the parts that didn't make it, and I really just want them to reshoot, and then I'll take them off the pole and pot them up separately. But while I'm waiting for them to reshoot on that pole, it takes up the least space. Exact same thing over here with my Verrucosum. It's also the bottom part of a very long ago chop and extend, and it honestly hasn't really done much. There's a second shoot here, which is completely rotted. Again, it lived outside all winter long. Actually, this in itself is also Gonski. you know what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna chop off this growth over here, and I'm gonna propagate that, and I'm gonna start it fresh, because I think that makes more sense than trying to recover this. This has not grown much in over a year. I think here, well, it's kind of dry. I think this is kind of too far gone. I won't really necessarily try and recover this, but I will park this in the corner. I actually have a few, let's say, like dead moss poles from winter, and I'll just let it dry, and then eventually, once I find time, I will recover all of the moss out of here, remove any any roots that I can see and so on, then wash it thoroughly, dry it in the sun, and then I can reuse it again. At least I don't do anything hectic on top of that. So for now, this is just a let's park it in the corner thing. I'll park these on the side so they can dry out a little bit. Oh. Later on, I'll just maybe just put them all in like one big vase of water, propagate them all together. Can you tell I'm avoiding any repotting for now? I suppose I just want to clear out a few of the ones that don't need it. Definitely all of them need cleaning, desperately. But I think it's mainly actually spiders. Right, this is also another super old pole. It is a majestic, and again, I think everything that's gonna come out now has overwintered in the greenhouse. And I can see a new caterpillar over here. So it is growing, but it's growing very slowly. It's kind of growing slower than the plant can keep its leaves alive. So it's not really the nicest looking, but I think it's still the beginning of the season, right? I need to give it a little bit of time to do something. So I think nothing to do here. The pot looks a little filthy actually. Actually, let me see, maybe I can pot this down actually. What did I decide with this one? Nothing, right? So the problem in the greenhouse is really that I don't have power supply. And because I'm a renter, I can't really change that. So I'm relying on solar power, which last summer worked really well. I only set it up last year, and you know, it was working really well because over summer we got a lot of sun. But then over winter my garden gets very little direct sun, and that little direct sun it gets is not strong enough to really charge the power generator or battery or whatever you want to call it, that then makes the fan go around. So basically over winter I took that battery out of the greenhouse because it wasn't really getting recharged. So I found one root with rot, but the rest actually looks quite healthy, but definitely a small root system. I'm going to give this a smaller pot, smaller footprint. They're all hanging in the greenhouse anyway, so I'm not worried about them toppling over. And holy moly, there were lots of ants in there. That's not necessarily in itself a negative, is it? I don't know. I'll just give this a 14 centimeter pot. That should be just fine. Yeah, might as well. Teeny tiny, love it. I just need to be safe. I need to save some medium today. I don't have all too much substrate. And ultimately I want the majority of the root system to be in the pole. That's what I give it a pole for, right? So I'm not hesitant to give it smaller pots. Also, I think in the greenhouse things will grow pretty fast this year. So quite likely that I need to do a big repot halfway through the season again with some selected plants. So I'm okay with that. I need to park it on the side, and I need to make sure it doesn't fall. In general, you guys know I'm not super careful with my plants when I repot them, especially not the ones that live outside. Alrighty. Next up, we've got Philodendron composportianum. We've got Philodendron, something with C. Can't think of it now. Also lived over there all winter long. I think this is a bit of cold damage. You can see the yellowing bits. It's also very dirty, but it grew this new leaf over winter. Actually, I think it grew these 2 leaves over winter. It either has lots of spider mites or actual spiders. I think it's actually spiders, not spider mites. But yeah, it's actually grown really well out there. I was a bit worried about it, but again, with the big spread, I couldn't really fit it anywhere inside, so I was like, let's just give it a try. Now growing via cutter fill, and you can also see some healthy roots in the substrate over here. I was talking about the biggest challenge being the lack of power outside. So what was I talking about? So over winter, the solar panel is not charging the battery enough to actually run this fan that's in the corner over here. So I have this little portable fan. You know, when I talk about you guys overheating, that's what I point at you to stop you from overheating. So over winter, I'll just use it in here. It's battery operated and I have 2 batteries. So every morning I just change the battery around, which is okay because I also am not misting in there over summer, so over winter. So I'll just maybe give it a fresh potting medium as well, might as well. Yeah, just that looked a bit filthy. So yeah, over winter not a problem because the misting system is on, and ultimately what I'm trying to avoid with the airflow is that water sits on leaves and then leaves will rot away. Like especially with the variegated leaves, I've noticed that happening really, really quickly. So that's basically why I want to keep airflow up, because it's a really high humidity environment, and high humidity and lack of airflow usually results in some sort of fungal issues. So ideally I would like to have airflow on 24/7. Now that is okay with the little portable fan. It doesn't quite last 24 hours, but that's also okay, you know, like as I mentioned over winter. But it's going to be an issue over summer. So today I wanted to reinstall that battery and that solar panel and everything, but and I stored the battery just like the generator. It's more than a battery. I don't know, maybe you've seen the video, it's in my playlist. And I wanted to just quickly charge it up inside first, just using the power plug before I reconnect it to the solar panel and so on. And it's giving me this error. And it gave me that error last year already, and I sent it in and I fixed it and I sent it back, and then it was all good. And now it's giving me this error again. It's like an overload error. And I googled it and it basically gives me no solution, or like I looked at their website and so on. So I'm a little bit pissed off because I need that stuff to be reliable so that I know that my fan is gonna work 24/7. And that little fan is not good enough for summer when it suddenly is like 40 degrees and I have the misting on pretty much constantly. I need decent airflow, and I need the airflow to kind of like cover the whole area. So that's why I've got this big fan that is waterproof and everything proof, and it also oscillates, so it covers the whole greenhouse. So I'm a little bit pissed off. First of all, because I don't have a solution now, I need to send it back in, and like I'm not confident with sending it back in, because last time I sent it in, they sent it back. Well, it wasn't properly fixed clearly, like it worked for the remainder of the season, but then something happened while... Oh, there's a slug in here. Disgusting. I really hate slugs, guys. It's up there with worms. I mean, that's obviously the thing about growing outdoors. You're exposed to more nature, which in itself is not a bad thing as long as it's not eating my plants. Oh my god, there was the slug and then I banged it and now the slug is gone. I just do not want the slug. Oh my god, it's right here. I'm traumatized by slugs because when I was in kindergarten, this girl took a slug, picked it up, looked me in the face and then ate it in front of me. Which is also poisonous, by the way, but honestly I think that's the moment that turned me vegan. Okay, I think I need to burn this whole bucket. But all jokes aside. So yeah, I'm pissed off. I hope other people that used the same product or similar products are having better experiences. I don't know if it's because I'm constantly charging it via solar. I couldn't really get any answers, so I'll contact their customer service. and just do that again. But yeah, I just wanted it to work, you know what I mean? I don't want to contact customer service and send it in and then wait for it to come back and so on. So anyway, on that note, like, I am sometimes concerned when I recommend products to you, because yeah, I mean, like, you know, that product, I tested it for 3 months before I spoke about it. And, you know, I suppose I do my proof is in the pudding method and so on. But yeah, within the first 3 months, I didn't experience any issue. The first issue I experienced with it was like 9 months into using it. But yeah, it's like no brand wants to work with you if you tell them like, oh yeah, send me the product and I can talk about it in 9 months time, right? So I obviously need to find a compromise between, you know, doing enough due diligence on the testing front before I recommend something, while also working with what the brand is actually willing to do. So yeah, in that instance, I'm not happy, because I don't want to recommend a product that then doesn't end up working. Kind of like puts me in a shitty position, and that's why I'm usually really careful with what I recommend to you guys, or what brands I work with and so on. You know, like, I only work with brands that I've been using for years now. All of the grow lights that I've been using, like the mother grow lights, for example, I've been using them for I think 3 or 4 years now. I think 3 years now, maybe 3.5. I've been using my GT Foliage Focus for I think 4.5 or 5 years now. So those are the products I'm most confident recommending to you. And I guess so many people that want to work with me, or like emails being like, do you want to work with this? Do you want to work with that? And I always tell them, it's like, oh, you know, I need to test that product for at least 3 to 6 months before I can recommend it. And that's usually where most deals kind of fall through, because they're like, oh, well, no, the campaign needs to go up next month, right? And then I decline. But apparently, even if a company is willing to give me the 3 months to test a product, maybe 3 months isn't enough. But then, you know, in the plant space, there aren't that many collaborations I can do in the first place. I can't decline all of them, because then I have no more business. Anyway, I think it's just me kind of holding myself to a really high standard. I mean, I see so many people just advertising everything left, right and center. Why do I make it so complicated for myself? I also don't want to shit can anybody. How do I say that? I obviously put that standard on myself because I want to feel good about what I put out there. But that in itself is actually stopping me from kind of taking this potentially to the next level and actually having success with it. I'm the one stopping myself because I don't want to do this or that, or that's not in line with what I want to do and so on. So I basically just decline a whole lot of opportunity as a result of it. I'm not saying you should accept every opportunity and completely throw out your standards, but I think I need to find a bit more of a compromise where, you know, my standards aren't actually prohibiting me from my business being successful. That's why I always say, oh my God, the slug is escaping. Go back in there, you... That's why I always say watching my videos is the best way for you guys to support me, because that way I don't need to work with other brands and I can just do my own thing, and YouTube is actually what's then paying my bills. So honestly, I would love for all of my revenue to just come from YouTube. Hang on, let me work on this real quick. This is the Frosted Heart. I've done a full 12-month video on this plant recently. It came from my IKEA cabinet straight into the greenhouse because it was just getting a bit too lush, but absolutely nothing to do over here. I just want to let it do its own thing in the greenhouse. So we just give this a soak or like a wash. And the exact same thing with my rugosum over here. It is also, actually, maybe bring this a bit closer. It is growing a ginormous Cutterfill over here. So, but the leaves are not that huge, but I don't think that's necessarily me thing. I think in general these leaves don't get that huge. I did a video where I kind of called it ugly, and I do think it's a little bit ugly. But I think in the greenhouse, as just one of many plants, it adds a nice texture. It's kind of nice, it's robust, but it's not really like a showstopper for me that I would want to grow inside on this, put it on display. But again, nothing to do over here. I think I'll just park it on the side. Insert clip from Jan just 6 weeks ago. Brentianum actually did so well this season out here. I hope I'm not speaking too early. I hope it's going to make it through the next month as well. And maybe Jan in a month's time is going to regret this decision I'm about to make. But I think I'm just going to keep it here. I saw it coming, didn't I? This is my Brentianum. There are actually some new shoots here, but it completely melted over the last month. So yeah, I feel like sometimes you think, oh, you know, winter's over, but you haven't really seen the damage just yet. Yeah, the bottom part over here is pretty rotten as well. You know what? I'm gonna give up on this plant. I'm sorry. Yes, I could potentially try and recover a cutting or something like that, but I'm just over it. I've tried to grow this plant for many years now, 3 years or so. Actually, last year it grew nicely. It reached the top and I was actually really happy with it finally, but I should have definitely put it inside. So here we go. Maybe one day I'll pick up a nice cutting of this again. Maybe I should start with a more mature cutting, given that this one is kind of impossible to mature. Anyway, I've got a new spare pole. Yay! You win some, you lose some. That one was kind of predictable. That one was foreseeable, so that's definitely on me, but YOLO. Right, here we've got one of 7,000 variegated monsteras. I can see some roots in the pot. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna top up the pole with a little bit more mix. That's about it. So yes, I'm disappointed with the power solution that I have, and yeah, I'm disappointed that I wasn't able to pick up on the unreliability of the product while doing the test, but I suppose, you know, it is what it is. Tried, I had good intentions, guys. But yeah, let me send it in. I'll give them the story as well, and they're like, don't just send it back to me for it to break again, you know, like, anyway, see what they come back with. That's definitely a big concern I have often when I recommend any product to you, is that maybe it won't work for you guys. So just because I recommend something and because it's worked in my experience, you know, I could have also gotten lucky and it works for me, and maybe you guys use it and it doesn't work for you, or the other way around. So still always question your purchases, do your own research, irrespective of who's recommending something to you. Also, even if it's me who's recommending it, I always try and recommend things with good intentions, and I try to do my due diligence. But yeah, I also need to adhere to, you know, the contractual obligations I have with the advertiser. But sometimes I can't do as much testing with a product as I would love to do. Yeah, that's the reality. Okay, this one is a mess. We need to figure that one out. This one's actually also a mess. So this is my medium silver. I cut it. You can see I cut it back here because it was kind of just growing too crazy over winter, and now you've got some new shoots. One of them has found its way under the grid, so I'm going to free that. Okay, and now I think I can top it up and extend it. I also won't change the pot. This one is actually still the original pot that Tim from Grow Vertical has given it to me in. It's still cable tied to the pot, which I never do. That's definitely his work. So let me top up this bit first with a bit of my substrate. But I actually want to give it a moss pile because this substrate was this was cocoa chips and it was drying out quite quickly. Did I bring the cable ties? Probably not. And sorry, we kind of went a little bit off topic when it comes to the greenhouse. We're gonna come back to the greenhouse, don't worry, we can talk about it all day. But let me, maybe while we're on that topic of partnerships and so on, let me give you a quick business update. It's been, what, 8 months now of being a full-time content creator. And I have to say now, especially that it's summer over here. Hello, spider. Now that it's nice and warm over here and the days are longer and I have lots of repotting to do and planting stuff to do, I'm really enjoying it. So I think it was definitely the right decision, but I obviously still need to also ensure that it works for me financially. So I suppose that's the big, and I'm just going to use that pole from the brand Tianum, and yes, there could be root rot in it, and no, I don't care. It will be just fine. The rotting roots will give it some extra nutrients maybe, huh? So yeah, enjoyment in itself ain't gonna pay the bills, right? And I'm actually gonna put this on the outside because there's already enough happening here. I just overlapped the poles by two holes,
and then I zip tie it all together. So yeah, enjoying my job isn't gonna pay the bills. I can't call my landlord and be like, hey, so I can't pay my rent this month, but I'm having a great time. So financially, it's going okay. It is definitely it's definitely gone better than the 2 years leading up to it, but I suppose you would expect with a growing audience that your revenue would also grow, right? I mean, 2 years ago I had 20,000 subscribers, now I have 220, maybe 230, something like that. So obviously you would expect that if you have more followers, you also make more revenue. And to be honest, it's actually only incrementally more than when I had 20,000. So I suppose that's a good sign for smaller creators. Having a large audience does not actually mean you get paid more. Ultimately, it's all about views, and I feel like views these days are just really randomly decided. Like, you could have no subscribers and the video could go viral. You could have millions of subscribers and nobody watching your videos. So I suppose that's a positive for people that want to get into this for the first time. Actually, also let me know if you want me to make a video on how I got into this, or like tips for new content creators, or how I create my content and so on, if that's something that you're interested in. Alright, here we go. I need to definitely lay this down or hang it somewhere, but yeah, they definitely need a good clean as well. Alrighty, here we've got Syngonium. Variegated Syngonium. I think nothing to do. I might just top up the pole because it will reach the top of it soon. So yeah, actually September was my best ever revenue month, but it is the revenue on my, and I'm just talking about YouTube here, and the revenue is, if you just look at subscriber numbers, it's not twice as high if you have twice as many subscribers. I think compared to this time last year, I have approximately double, I would say, but I think the revenue is maybe increasing by 10% or something like that. So while I gain subscribers, it doesn't actually translate to gaining views. So please guys, help me get more views, engage with my content, share it, watch it again. That honestly is the best way for you guys to support me. I sound like a broken record. Yeah, look, YouTube revenue is the revenue that I feel most comfortable with, because it's the revenue that I make by just making the videos that I want to make anyway. I don't need to get out of my way. I don't need to work with brands and push some sort of product on you. For you, it's free to watch my YouTube videos as well. So YouTube revenue is my preferred way of making revenue, because it doesn't cost my audience anything, and instead I get paid by advertisers, big companies, Google and so on, and I think they can spare a bit of money for us content creators. I don't want this to be a fan-funded thing. And as much as you guys sometimes tell me, oh, why don't you do a Patreon or memberships, we would support you even if you can't necessarily deliver extra content, I don't necessarily want this to be fan-funded. I think it just would kind of like, I don't like the dynamic in that, if that makes sense. I think my content should be free and easily accessible for anybody who wants to watch it, and it my content shouldn't be hidden behind a paywall and so on, despite the fact that YouTube takes a big cut of that money anyway, right? So I think just watching my videos and getting YouTube ad revenue is my preferred way. I feel the best about it, considering where the funds are coming from, and it is just getting paid for the core product that I enjoy making anyway. I enjoy making these videos. Of course, to an extent, I also need to make these videos to keep alive, but it's the best job I've ever had and the best job I could think of. So I really enjoy that. And when I work with brands, it's only with brands that I actually also really enjoy working with, like with Bunnings. I've been going to Bunnings for 10 years before I started working with them. So it's not something that I only discovered because I'm working with them. I used Mother Lights for 1.5 years before I ever talked to you about them. I used the GT Fertiliser for 2.5 years before I ever talked to you about it. So these are all products that I actually like, but those collaborations aren't like
enough to support my life, you know what I mean? Like, but I feel like there's an unlimited amount of views I could technically get on my YouTube channel, so that's why I always like to push for the views, you know. And also, like, keep in mind I'm in Australia, so you know, Australia is a really small market, so I have very limited options within Australia. There's a lot of people, for example, that do a lot of affiliate marketing with like Amazon, right? Like they're just like, oh, here's the link to this amazing Amazon find and so on. I actually can't really do that because some things that might be available in the Australian Amazon store are not available in the US Amazon store, and there's just not enough Australian audience for me to really do anything with that. And I also don't want to advertise something in an American Amazon store that I don't even have available in my country in the first place. Like, how can I recommend something to you or ask you to buy something that I don't even have, you know, and I'm not that consumerish. Oh my god, this one is also dead. Oopsie. This was a funny story. This was the plant that Tim from Grow Vertical made, and it got lost in the post for 9 months, and then obviously it didn't survive the 9 months in the post, and he sent me a second one, and that obviously didn't survive either. Ah, sorry, I don't think he's watching, so YOLO. He will never know. He will never find out. Anyway, we've got another spare moss pole. Let's see the positive. So yeah, I'm definitely going in circles about it, so let me wrap up this topic. It's going well. I'm really happy with how the business is going, and it's definitely enabling me to stay alive. But I can't help but see much more potential in at least the YouTube revenue part, and I feel very confident with that YouTube revenue part. That's how I would like to make more money, and for that to happen, all I really need is more views. So maybe I need to be a little bit more clickbaity. Maybe I need to make a few more. Maybe I need to just make more videos that are popular. Like, look at these plants that I bought and know nothing about, or I don't know. I feel like I'm putting a lot of effort into my videos. I film some of my videos over the course of 12 months, and then it gets like a fraction of the views of some videos where somebody just went to Home Depot and bought 20 plants. I don't know, like, is my content too niche? Is my content too informative? Like, is it just, I don't know, is it not entertaining enough? I'm not too sure. But what I do know is I always want to make content that I personally also enjoy. So I don't necessarily want to just make content because it's clickbaity or it's like popular on the internet right now. I still want to make sure that I look at the video as well and be like, I'm actually really proud of what I produced. But pride also ain't gonna pay the bills. This is Sapinada, by the way, nothing to do, it does its thing. These are just some anthurium stumps that I potted up the other day when I did all of my anthuriums, and I just popped them in here, so nothing to do here for now. Yeah, and then when I ask for suggestions, you guys always come up with great suggestions, but a lot of these things I've also kind of tried already, and I know they're not working. Like, a lot of people suggest I go travel around and like look at botanic gardens and other people's plant collections and so on. And I mean, I've traveled around in a small scale. Like, I could go to AJ's, I go to Tim from Grow Vertical, I went to like, you know, all the botanic gardens over here, I went to Brisbane and so on, and I really enjoy creating that content. But realistically, the content, not a single piece of content that I produced where I traveled is where the revenue of that video has actually covered the costs of the travel. And let's not even talk about the actual existing ongoing cost of living that it also needs to cover, right? It also needs to cover my rent and my bills and so on, and not just the actual travel. So while I enjoy making them, and I will continue making them because I enjoy making them, they're not the solution to actually getting more views and more watch time on this channel, I think. So yeah, look, I'll keep doing what I'm doing because I'm enjoying it, but you know, I've been doing a lot of thinking recently, and I know that I know my number one goal, or like I really have two goals. I would love to continue having a job that I love doing, and I would love to not have to rent, because renting really stops me from doing what I really want to do. I want to have creative freedom to renovate my house, put some things on the walls, change things around the way that I want. And as a renter, I'm just very limited in what I can do. Plus, like, I have to move all the time. You never know, are you gonna get kicked out next year or not? So why are you gonna make fundamental changes to a place that you're always just in temporarily, you know? Or why are you, like, even just like things like buying furniture. I'm buying a couch that I know fits in this house, but I might only live here for a year, and then I move somewhere else and the couch might no longer fit, you know? You guys are starting to overheat, so let me give you the fan. So yeah, I want to get into the property market. This, by the way, is my Biliatii, and it is very dead. Yeah, that's not really salvageable. Oopsie, oh, so sorry. She was outside all winter long, actually not even in greenhouse, outside, and didn't like it. And this one, I think, is my reverted Paraiso Verde. It's just a piece of nothing. Look at her. She was also outside all year round, so not even in the greenhouse. She was hanging on the fence and did not like the cold and wet. I don't know how many times I can say it, but cold and wet, not a good combination. And this one is another mixed pot of anthuriums, or like not mixed, little seedlings that I grew. I forgot them in the corner of my greenhouse. They all died back, but I mean, there's still some stumps there, and hopefully some of these can recover. So yeah, if I think about my two objectives, then ideally, in a perfect world, I would love to continue to run my YouTube channel. I love teaching people how to grow plants. I love spreading the joy that plants can bring. I love entertaining people as well. I think the most rewarding comments is when people either tell me that, you know, I really changed this hobby for them, or when people say that they really are entertained by my videos, and it puts them in a good mood. And I would love to continue that. I think that is more meaningful than sitting in an office for me personally. I feel like I can always still sit in an office when I'm eventually, right? So I would love to continue what I'm doing, but what I'm doing is very space ineffective, right? It requires a lot of space for me to grow all of these plants to then be able to produce content with them. With the need for a lot of space comes the need for a lot of money, because property prices are really expensive, especially in Sydney. So actually living in Sydney is no longer a reasonable option once I stopped renting, right? So that one I kind of came to terms with already. But I need to find a way to continue having a lot of space and continuing to be able to, create content and explore my creativity, while also being able to save money for a house deposit and then buying a house, so that I don't need to pay somebody else's mortgage for the rest of my life, but I can pay my own mortgage. And well, basically I need more money for that, you know. And I know everybody does, you know, everybody wants more money, and I suppose that's a common thing with cost of living crisis. And don't get me wrong, I think in the grand scheme of things, I've got it really, really good. I have a job that I really enjoy, and I can live off that. But yeah, doesn't mean that I can't have another dream. And I know there's probably going to be some people that feel like, oh my god, influencers don't deserve anything. Like, there's a lot of people that think like influencers shouldn't be paid for their work, and I think I'm not necessarily a traditional influencer. I would say I'm somewhat of an educator, and I think I should get paid for the work I do helping other people get educated on this topic and the entertainment that I might bring. I just want that payment to come from YouTube ideally. So, long-winded way of saying, please watch my videos so that I can continue making videos in the long run, while also hopefully getting out of the rental market. That's my goal. And honestly, there's not a single day where I don't think about this. Every single day I think about, where should I move to? What sort of house could I afford? What can I do to afford that house? What could I do to broaden the content on my channel to get more interest in it, because it is a really niche topic. By the way, here, first leaf of the season on my Monstera, and this one is my Cupria, also looking quite healthy actually. So I think I won't change anything over here. It's a small Cupria, not the big one that I've got inside. So I think nothing to do here. This one, yeah, has some healthy roots. Yeah, nothing to do here.
Anyway, I hope it doesn't come across as ungrateful, because, I mean, look, I know that's always somebody's going to get the wrong message out of this. But yeah, I just feel like there's so much potential in this, and I feel like I have gotten a decent sized audience. I mean, I don't know, there's people that have like 10,000 people and they're doing this full time. I genuinely don't know how. Is it because they actually say yes to every partnership that gets proposed? Like right now, I have one outstanding video for a brand that I need to do, and that's it. I have nothing else in the works. There's no other work, because I declined every opportunity because it wasn't necessarily in line with what I want my channel to stand for. But then I feel stupid, because eventually there won't be a channel anymore, because I can't afford to do it anymore. So I just need to find that sort of compromise without feeling like a sellout, you know? I don't know. Yeah, this was another one of the ones that got a repot, and as part of the repot I absolutely destroyed this leaf. So it's only staying on until I see the next one come out, and then it will have to go. And this one is my begonia. I'll bring you a bit closer because it's actually quite cute. But let's cut this one off. It's dragging on the floor. Oh, hang on, I've got a different green waste. Look how cute it actually is. Look at how fluffy and furry the new leaves are when they come out. I know nothing about begonias, so I'm not going to repot this. I'm just going to park it on the side. Clearing out, it's actually quite good, and we're getting to the dead corner where everything is kind of dead. It wasn't actually as much repotting as I thought. Alrighty, here we've got a few more variegated monsteras, another leaf coming out here. That's actually very good to see. What about this one? Can't see roots, nor can I see any growth. So you know what that means. Let's do nothing with it. Florida Ghost, the little tissue culture Florida Ghost. I honestly just couldn't be asked to look at it inside anymore, so it's just going to live here until it dies. And this one is some of my Verrucoium cuttings that I put outside in an attempt to see if it wants to crawl. There's one left over here. One with one shoot. Seems a bit overkill to have such a big pot for it then, huh? Nah, this one also has a root rod. Bye. Anyway, sorry, I really went on a bit of a rant there, didn't I? It's kind of what you know these repots for by now, right? I just kind of speak my mind. But yeah, that is honestly on my mind every single day. How do I get out of the rental market? How do I get a place that I can be creative with, and kind of also then take the content on this channel to the next level, where I can take you along on doing some obviously just minor renovations in the house and kind of really setting up the house to work for my aesthetics in the way that I want to grow my plants, having a garden that I can do creative changes to. I can, like, 1 year set up a veggie patch, the next year I want to do something different and so on, you know. I would just love that, and I would love to then also take you along and yeah, just kind of expand my content a little bit rather than just showing you houseplants. I mean, I'm still always going to be houseplants, but basically not have the limitations of having to live in somebody else's house that you can't do anything with, you know, and be able to be creative. Okay, so this is a mess. Let me bring you closer. It is just a pothos, I think a global green or emerald green. I think it's the same, just depends on which way around the variegation is. And it's been on here for a long time, and it's not really increasing in leaf size, but it has shot out lots of new shoots, and they're all coming out the back of the pole. Can you see this here? So I think I need to do some propagations maybe. And there's also some shoots at the back over here. Now, I actually really like this, but I would actually also like to have a second version of this and have it trailing. So I'm going to cut some propagations for a nice trailing pot of this. Oh, you're running out of battery. One moment. Sorry, I think the last bit didn't record. I'm just putting a little extension on my global green over here. And what I was saying is like, okay, I should stop bitching and moaning about the money conversation and keep talking about the greenhouse. But I then very quickly came to the conclusion that the part about the greenhouse that pisses me off the most is that I don't have power out here. Because having a greenhouse in itself isn't actually going to just solve all of your issues. Like, yes, you have the potential to create a really good, humid, tropical environment in there, or you have the ability to control the environment much more than you could outdoors. But controlling the environment often comes with the need to use some sort of power, right? Either in the form of a fan or heating or like a automated misting system and so on. So for example, I can only set my misting system on a schedule and say turn on every day at 12, 2 and 4 or something like that. But I don't have a consistent power supply that could kind of monitor the conditions consistently and then turn on and off a humidifier or a mister or a heater or something like that, right? You would need more consistency for that, a thing that's consistently plugged in. And ultimately, if I rely on solar power, it could easily be that overnight it runs slow, and then in the morning the sun charges the solar panel and the battery again, and then the fan turns back on again. But it's not consistent. I can't rely on it always being on. It's going to turn on and off depending on how much sun there is, right? So it really limits me in how much automation I can put in the greenhouse, at least from my research. I don't know if I'm just missing something here and there's like all of this automated stuff out there and I'm just unaware. And in the grand scheme of things, not a problem. I enjoy monitoring it and learning and adjusting it accordingly, but it's definitely an issue if I go away and now it's just like, oh well, 3 times a day you need to check if the humidity levels in the greenhouse are, you know what I mean, nobody's going to do that. So it's another thing that I would love to explore. I would love to explore a little bit more with automation, especially in my greenhouse, but I think I'm just limited with what I can do. And then am I going to do that, set it all up, and then in 6 months time I need to move again and I'm facing completely different challenges. Anyway, you can tell I've been thinking about this whole topic a lot recently, and it's been just in my mind and it's just been frustrating me and so on. So I just wanted to talk to you about my mindset about it. Apart from that, I do enjoy the greenhouse very much. I think it's just giving me another challenge in growing plants, and I love growing plants in there. And I love just going in there, and especially in summer when the sun hits it and then the misters turn on and I can make little rainbows in there. I think it's just such a cool feature. And whenever anybody comes to my house, oh look at that. Oh, look, they're all pushed back to the back of the pole. Interesting. Everybody always loves seeing the greenhouse, and it's a good one to talk to people about, and yeah, so I like it. It's a nice feature of my garden. But I'm also nervous about what to do when I need to move again with this greenhouse. It's just such a nightmare to move it. If you can read between the lines, then you might kind of understand what journey I'm on at the moment, and that journey might involve moving again. But I'm not confirming anything for you just yet. I don't know yet. It's all out in the open. I don't know. All I do know is I need my business to continuously improve to be able to afford my vision, let's say. And yes, I have been considering going back to a corporate job just for job security, which enables you to usually secure more funds in lending. But the thought of going back to it and kind of giving up on this sort of dream and this sort of passion is actually making me really sad. So I'm going to try my very best to keep this going, but I also need to make sure that it is enabling me to meet my more long-term goals that I want to have. I feel like sometimes society has this expectation that if you want to achieve something, you need to have a job that you really hate. You know, you need to suffer so that you then deserve the reward. And it's like, I don't think we all need to suffer to deserve a reward. Why can't we do good and then deserve a reward as a result of doing well? Anyway, I'm yapping on and on and on about this topic. I'm so sorry if this is really boring to you, but this is really what's going through my mind at the moment. And then, yeah,
and we can talk about it more once I have a little bit more information. I'll keep you up to date, but I'm also very conscious about talking about these things online because people have so many opinions, and yeah, everybody's entitled to their opinions, but it's a little different if you're talking about your whole livelihood over here and your whole life and like some impactful decisions you want to make in your life. I don't know if I need everybody's opinion on this. That's why I really only talk about it in these videos, because I know like the people that watch these videos and make it that far into the videos, they're my people. Like, I want to share these news with you. Definitely not with Instagram. So yeah, anyway, I haven't really confirmed anything. I'm being really cryptic, but who knows how long I'm going to live here for. Anyway, I'll just chop all of this into single node cuttings. I really want to create a nice lush pot of trailing pothos actually, so that's why I'm just making as many as possible, and I'm going to sit them over there, let them dry out as well. This is my variegated burler marks, or was. Also did not like, yeah, well, look at this. This is what the stem looks like by now. We did not like the cold, quite clearly. It's alright, you win some, you lose some. I have no idea what this is. I think AJ gave it to me once in like a rescue box. Let's do nothing with it. I have no plans for this. Another variegated monstera. Can neither see roots nor leaf growth, but still has a leaf. I can see absolutely nothing. Let me investigate. Okay, it has healthy roots. Why are you not giving me a new shoot? Oh, I don't know. Did I do this? Okay, see, so this is the node, right? Then the node had a new shoot over here, but then I somehow, I don't know if I cut this off or ripped off or whatever, so I don't think this will ever reshoot again, despite having a healthy root system, because the node already shot out once. So I think I'm giving up on this. Don't hate me. Okay, this is a stump of obliqua. Let's see if I can pot this up. Oh, that moss is very moist. Yeah, healthy looking stem, some healthy looking roots, some not super healthy looking roots, but these ones look healthy. So I'll just pot it up. So yeah, overall, I really enjoy having the greenhouse. People that come and visit me always love the greenhouse as well. They're really fascinated to go inside and so on. And overall, it is definitely a space that I have more control over compared to the normal outside world, right? If I would have consistent power. But I'm not mad, you know, I'm not mad at it at all. I actually really enjoyed the challenge. When I did the Anthurium repot, I actually forgot one. This is a Clarinervium hybrid. It's just a stick, there's no roots, and I've tried to propagate it in water for almost a year with zero success. So I just thought, you know what, I'll just pot it up and see if I can propagate it in aeroid mix, because at this stage, YOLO. Over here I have some, like a tub of alive sphagnum moss. Like, it's still growing if you want to. So I bought this at the fair in April for a terrarium makeover or something like that, which I definitely want to do. I just don't have direct plans. And this one is my maidenhair fern that was out there the whole winter long, and it's loving it, and I'm loving the maidenhair fern. Might get a little bit too hot for it over there in summer, but we will see. You can even see some new shoots coming out there. I like it. Nothing to do. Over here I've got a jewel orchid, even in bloom. Nothing to do over here. And this is one of my billycoisums. I only put that out here last week. So nothing to do for this one either. No, I forgot one. This was my Gloria. Oh no. Oh no. This was my gloriosum. Okay, it didn't survive. I wasn't surprised by that, because my gloriosum also didn't survive in my garden the year before. So, you know, sometimes I really don't learn from my mistakes, and that's what I end up with. Let's bring out the trailing plants. Actually, before I take them out, I need to go downstairs and find some pots for them. Alrighty, I'm back. Let's take these out. And apologies again for the rant. You know,
I want to keep this positive. I like being a positive person. Ooh, look at this. It's looking a bit unhealthy, huh? I want to keep this really fun and happy and all of this, but I also need to keep it realistic. I think there's a lot of people that would... I'm just gonna cut this right back, by the way, because these leaves are all looking a bit ugly. Repot it and I just let it reshoot. And yes, I could propagate some of these. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that would be upset if I don't continue with this channel. So as much as you guys probably don't want me to not continue with the channel, then you guys also need to be part of the conversation on how I can keep the channel alive. But I know that, you know, especially talking about money and making money and like, you know, is a tricky topic online, because people feel like you don't get to have a fun job and then also be successful with it. You can have one or the other, you know. Having a job that you like is already success enough. What else do you want? It's like, yeah, but again, I don't think it's mutually exclusive. I think you can have both. Okay, I chopped this right back because honestly these leaves just also didn't look super healthy, and I figured trying to recover these might actually be harder than just starting it from scratch. And then this way, hopefully it's also going to end up being really lush and not just kind of an empty bold top and then like really lush bottom parts. But I also want to look into this potting mix. Wow, healthy roots. So that's good, but very soggy medium. Look at that. What? You know what? I'm going to let this drain on the side over here, so you can see it drip drip. Maybe I'll elevate it a little bit, and I'm moving on to the next one in the meantime. Yeah, see, it makes no sense. The drainage hole is kind of raised. It makes no sense. It's just going to accumulate water. I love this. Oh, I don't even know what type of Ripsalis it is, but it's looking so lush. And this fern that kind of hitchhiked is making it lush at the top as well. So it's growing both directions. So honestly, I have nothing to do over here. I feel like I could only make it look worse, not necessarily better. And yes, if I repot it, it would have potential to grow bigger, but I don't think my greenhouse has potential for it to grow bigger. So I'm going to just park this on the side. Okay, this one is my pagoda lipstick plant, and I chopped off a lot of the bottom part because it had aphids. And now look at all of the new shoots sprouting out the top over here. So I think this is really happy. I'm not going to do anything with this for now. Okay, we only have the carnivorous plants to go. And I said earlier I won't repot them because I think they're still fine. This is the latest one that I got. Oh my god, it's actually blooming even. So it's very happy. What I could kind of do though is I could manage this a little bit so it doesn't flop around like that, but it has a little bit more structure. I could just gently cable tie it to the thingy this way. I like that better, takes up less space. And then my crown jewel, so to say. Oh, I love this one, but it needs a little bit of cleaning. This one has now been 2 years old, and I need to be so careful to not smash any of the pitches. So I think I have not lost a single leaf in those 2 years, so these are really the first leaves I ever chop off. And I'm gonna chop off some of the old pitches. I don't think you can see me down here anymore. The old pitches. Because new ones are now coming. Let me show you close up. Actually, I need to also do something with this. Look how long this has gotten. Okay. Have a look at this. Where all the pitches here, 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 here. They're all still small, but there's heaps, and the plant has propagated itself. So while this is the main shoot that I just wrapped around, there's another one here and another one here. Happy days. So yeah, I was talking about the greenhouse and how I really enjoy having that additional challenge, you know, and that's what I think is so nice about this hobby. It's not, obviously I have a certain thing that I really like doing. Wow, this medium is so soggy. I'm not surprised this plant suffered. It's nice doing something different, learning something new, even if it's like with the same plants. I don't grow like super different plants out there. The only plants that are really different that I grow out there that I don't really grow anywhere else is the pitcher plants, and I want to have more of those. They survived winter so well. They were like my joy to look at over winter because they hardly looked like they even suffered at all. Bradley, don't eat the pitcher plant, yeah? So it is cool because it does enable me to grow other plants that I wouldn't normally grow indoors, and it is teaching me a different challenge. The challenge in there is really overheating, something I don't really usually face indoors, and then too cold, and then too humid. Like all of these challenges that we don't normally face indoors, right? Normally we have a lack of humidity inside, or it's too cold, hardly ever too hot in there, right? Obviously a completely different set of pests, like I'm dealing with things like slugs potentially, or caterpillars, rather than just spider mites. Spider mites doesn't seem to be such a big issue in the greenhouse and so on. So it's a completely different way of growing, even though I'm only 3 meters away from my living room. And with a different set of conditions comes a different set of care, different set of medium, right? Like I use more aeroid poles in the greenhouse because it's easier to water, for example, or like not easier to water, but I can just water it and the mess doesn't impact it so much, and it's just easier for me to actually do it and more cost effective and so on. So I do different things in the greenhouse than I do inside, and I really enjoy getting that sort of diversity when it comes to growing. I think it turns me into a better grower because I'm more aware of differences. If you only know one set of conditions, you only know one set of care, then it's going to be hard to help other people with their issues potentially. And I love being able to help others with their issues and make them appreciate this hobby or be better at this hobby. So the more experiences I can make, the better. But obviously I don't want to move to Antarctica to experience what it's like to grow over there and so on, right? Obviously the variety of experiences is very much limited by where I live, right? So, oh my god. Ugh. But yeah, I really enjoy it. Should I try something crazy and grow it in this pot? I think it's usually for orchids, not for syngoniums, but YOLO. And at the same time, I have to say, from a care perspective, the greenhouse is very easy. It's just going in there, the misting does a lot of the watering, or at least creating a high humidity environment so I don't have to water all too often. So really my challenge is in monitoring and adjusting the conditions accordingly, which is a good learning curve. It's a nice part of the hobby, something different. Whereas inside, I'm obviously just having the conditions that I like to keep my house at for my own sake, and then it's more about adjusting the care approach for the plants. Over here, it's the other way around. So it again gives me just a broader understanding of growing plants and the challenges that we might face, which just makes me a better grower. Alrighty, I'm back. I've got my proper gardener hat on because it's gonna get dirty, and I don't want my nice LA hat to get dirty, and I'm also gonna get sweaty because we are about to clean the greenhouse. Tim is actually coming over to bring the gurney back. He borrowed my gurney, and then I'm gonna gurney the greenhouse first, and then I'm gonna do the squeezy one on at least the glass front. But also, yuck. This shelf is also super filthy, so we need to gurney that as well. Yuck, we found lots of slugs underneath, so we're just taking it all out. Disgusting. Hello, welcome to my channel. Always make sure to wear protective foot gear. Good enough, huh?
Yeah, then we'll do the brush.
Is it gonna rain? No, right? What time is it?
2:18.
Oh shit, so you need to go now?
Yeah.
Thanks for your help. It's good enough, I'm over it. So, over it. Ugh. Everything is wet as well now. Let me quickly squeegee the bottom again. Now the sun has disappeared. The moment when we need it, I think it's gonna freaking rain on us. In itself, not a bad thing because the plants would appreciate the rain, but I need to get you guys out of the rain. Relax, 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 relax. Let's get rid of the gurney. I don't understand this. Help me. Oh my god, can you hear the thunder? Alrighty, over here, you guys should be somewhat protected in case it rains. By the way guys, earlier, when I was waiting for Timmy, I repotted the Ripsalis that I forgot. That's the ID. And from upstairs, I took a Hoya and I repotted that as well. Yes, I'm gonna have a Hoya in my greenhouse. Let's close this umbrella so that if it rains, my plants can actually get rained on. That's the only positive about rain. Alrighty, my friends. So, I know it might be about to rain, but I can't guarantee it. But what I really want to do is I want to get all of these plants watered and cleaned. If it then rains on top of them as well, that would be ideal. But I know Sydney weather too well to actually rely on rain. It's probably gonna rain for 2 seconds. It's just not good enough. Oh, here it comes. Not ideal because I wanna dry these wooden tiles. So let me quickly collect them. Did you hear that? I checked the forecast to make sure I'm doing this on a day where it doesn't rain, because everything being wet is just, it's really hard to clean things when everything is wet. But as always, the bomb is letting us down. You're running out of battery. It's raining. I'll be back in a sec.
I need time, just a little more time. I need time.
Whew. Hello. Okay, it definitely started raining a little bit. As you can see, everything is wet. It rained just enough to make everything a little bit wet, but not enough to actually like thoroughly water and or clean these plants. So It's actually not a bad thing for these plants to be rained on because they're in the greenhouse. They usually never get rained on, but I also want to provide them with some nutrients. So I made my worm casting dinghy again, and I'm just going to water them all in with a little bit of worm castings. Actually, no. I'm going to hoist them down first. Yes, I know it's raining, but I need a little more power. The good thing is with the greenhouse, I can also just hoist them down in the greenhouse, right? It's not like something like indoors. When I grow indoors, I have to take them all out to thoroughly hoist them down. I can always do that inside the greenhouse as well. I don't think the carnivorous plants want any nutrients. I think they just want bugs. I wish they would eat slugs. If they would eat slugs, wow, they would be very happy in my greenhouse. And I'm sure it's just gonna stop now. As always, I just hate mess. I just don't like operating in a messy environment, and it's too messy for me right now. I need to chill. But while it stopped raining, let me quickly show you the greenhouse. So, welcome back to the greenhouse. I've got the fan on high to kind of just dry it out a little bit because it's been so moist in here with all of the stuff. Now obviously rain doesn't help with that. I would have loved a little bit of sun to dry it out a bit faster, but yeah, I'll just keep this as it is and let the other plants out there drain as much as possible. Maybe they won't get rained on all too much anymore. And I'm gonna have some lunch. I'm way overdue for lunch. I did not anticipate this to take that long, and then I'll see you shortly when we're moving everything back inside. I know I'm quite far away, but this is the furthest you can go without getting wet. It is still raining, and I'm checking my forecast, and like 15 minutes ago it said rain is expected to stop in 13 minutes. So it should have stopped by now. Now I'm checking, it says rain is supposed to stop in 28 minutes. So I think we just need to move on. Also, it's not a bad thing, like it's a wet space in the greenhouse anyway. I just really wanted to kind of get it a bit drier so I could also just quickly use the blower again. But let's give up on this ever being a dry thing today. It's fine, it's not that bad. I definitely need to make sure I turn off the mister. Good timing, would have started in 17 minutes. We do not need additional misting. But my microphone or anything is not waterproof, so I'm going to set up my little action camera in here somewhere, and hopefully I can capture me bringing all of the plants back, and then I'm hoping by then it will stop raining so I can take my popper camera a little bit closer and show you the new setup. But anyway, we gotta keep going because I don't have all day. I need to go to the gym in about an hour. Go!
I need time, just a little more time. I need time. I need time, just a little more time. One more time. I need time, just a little more time. I need time. I need time, just a little more time. One more time. Next to you. Up in the middle with the night texting you. Skies looking clear for the night set for two. Gotta mix a Henny with the Sprite. Set the mood, set the mood, set the mood. Yeah, you're nice. You can have my heart, just name the price. Trying to get a grip, you became my vice. Need a piece of your love if you save this life.
Oh, where's the other camera? Whoopsie. Oh, forgot about you. Hello, Sauce. Right, as you can see, I'm pretty wet, but I managed to put everything back into the greenhouse. So let's have a really quick look, and then I really want to get out of this. I'm cold and wet by now. Let me just show you. Less talking, more showing. Alright, I'm trying to go back out, but it's still raining a little bit and you guys are not waterproof. So, as you can see, I actually have quite a lot of room left, right? And that's first of all, of course, for plants to grow into their new space, but also I will probably take some plants from the inside world and pop them into the greenhouse as well. So there are definitely lots and lots of empty spots, specifically on this side. Imagine if I get rid of the Ploumanii, wherever I'm going to put that, then I would actually have lots of room for more poles as well. Not 100% happy with the hanging arrangement of the plants just yet, but I kind of wanted to keep it a little more open so that when I first walk in, I'm not just always like bumping into something. But see how we go. As I said, there's a few plants from the inside world that will have to come in here anyway, so I'll have to rearrange all the time. Yeah. A little bit anticlimactic. Usually we're looking forward to the end result and now kind of gotten rained on, literally. But that's okay. I'm sure we'll see the greenhouse in many videos over the next coming months because, well, I'm expecting the most growth in this greenhouse over here. A couple of other things. I still haven't figured out the fan situation. I'm still as annoyed as I was at the beginning of the video, so that I need to work on. And in the morning, as you might have seen, I filmed all day, but in the morning, as you might have seen, there's a lot of light coming from the back. In the afternoon, the light is coming from the front. But because there's so much light coming from the back, a lot of these leaves get confused and want to kind of point in all directions. So I was actually thinking maybe shading the back wall a little bit to get leaves to rather face forward instead. So that's also something that I might want to work on. But, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. I think this is plenty for a day of repotting. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you made it all the way, please leave a house emoji in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for coming along. If you haven't already, subscribe, give a thumbs up to this video, watch it again, you know. Watching is the best way for you guys to support me, la 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 la. I really need to say goodbye. Happy growing!